One of the things that we're boiling down to is this idea of engaging in public, right? And really focusing on that. And what we're finding out is that this is a big shift for companies. To engage in public, companies are just, they're in fear, many of them, right? Because they have to trust their employees or their partners to actually advocate on their behalf in public settings, where it can be monitored and watched, and almost all organizations are afraid that someone's going to say the wrong thing. So we've been focusing on what we call community engagement, and really as one core thing that's sort of like, once you kind of dig into social media, it becomes one of the pillars, right? Engaging with your community becomes a pillar. And what we're seeing is we look at the world in in terms of a media perspective, or a digital perspective. We look at you had your own properties, your websites that you launched, right? And then you had to figure out how to get people to it. So then you paid. You used paid media, whether it was search or to get people there. And then the blogosphere erupted, and people realized that you could actually have other individuals drive traffic to their blogs. And then social platforms became very big on top of that. So we look at that whole ecosystem, and the common thread through much of that is that in order to engage, you actually have to have things like community managers, which is something that really is nothing new. 10 years ago, forums and message boards were run by people like community managers. But now, if you want to play like in this, for example, where the social platforms are, it's kind of like taking that mainstream. Look at employees as ambassadors, right? They are ambassadors of your organization. When you set up something, to get tactical, when you set up a digital property on Facebook, or we call it a digital embassy, you have to staff that embassy with ambassadors. And those ambassadors need to be trained in the art of public engagement. In order to do all those things, it needs to be a cultural shift. Like, marketers have to stop thinking about just their messaging and actually realizing that you can't automate a lot of these things. You have to have people that represent your organization out there and engaging.